everybody. Let's open up the doors. And if you are one of the people that just hang out on one of the platforms that we stream on and you would like to join us live in our Zoom room, you are invited to do so by going to dailywithdoczoom.com. That is dailywithdoczoom.com. My name is Becca Dukes, and because I have come from a point where I was kind of hopeless, and then somebody found something within me and encouraged me that allowed me to be able to break free of being held back by myself, I am honored to be able to put this program together and bring it to you as an empowering hour of not just health and wellness, but also financial health. And today we are going to be we're honored. And we were just saying, how can you get so much greatness in one room and not shut down the internet? Because, folks, I'm able to surround myself with some amazing people, and I am super excited to be able to share them with you. Many times we want to go into business and we try this and we try that, and we're freaking, it just doesn't work. Well, guess what? When you find the right company with the right attitude and the right community where we are lifting each other up, working together because we have a common goal, and that common goal is to help you. So folks, get ready, hold on. This program is being sponsored by dailywithdoc.com, but if somebody specifically invited you to watch this program, whether you're here live with us or a replay, does not matter. Make sure that you get back with the person that shared this video with you. If there's no one to thank, feel free to go to dailywithdoc.com and use that contact option to reach out to us here on the Daily with Doc team. Now, I'm pretty honored to be able to have these gentlemen on with me today because I know they have busy schedules, working their business, helping each other. And folks, when you're helping somebody reach their goals, there is no greater purpose in life. It's so gratifying to be able to help people do that. And some of these people have helped me do that. So I'm super excited to be able to present to you our men's panel of people who are coming from different lives, but having success with a purpose. So I'm going to bring on with me. First, we have one of my mentors, Paul Kroto. Paul is the co-founder, co-owner of the Institute of Holistic Health. He is also an entrepreneur and business owner and has been for decades with a master's degree in nutrition, and he is also a Tony Robbins and John Maxwell certified coach and trainer. So he brings a lot to the table for the whole community, and I have been directly benefited by that as well. So thank you so much, Paul, for being on with us.
Well, thank you, Becca, for having me. I'm very honored to be here today.
Well, I'm glad you had some time in your schedule because I know you've got a lot going on. And next we have Raymond Brown. Now we heard from Raymond Brown's wife through our women's panel. Now Raymond is a business owner, not just longevity. Are you still in business? Are you doing this full time, Raymond? You're muted. Oh, let's unmute you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I do some coaching on the side. Yes.
All right, fantastic. And you're a great person to do that because you are coming from real life experience. You're a leader. In fact, the Majestic Eagles is part of your team. Is it soar, the Majestic Eagles. So now, folks, Raymond actually was part of another company where he found the benefits of a product called Z Radical so great that when Longevity acquired them, he came with them and is the brand ambassador for the Z Radical. And he and Yolanda both just have a purpose to help people find health and wealth. And I'm super excited to be able to have him on with us here today as another leader within the longevity family. Next, we are going to bring on, let's see, who shall I bring on next? Probably the youngest one of the crew. Yeah. Let's go ahead and bring on Ryan Aleckszander. So Ryan Aleckszander is from Canada. So I get a lot of emails saying, can I do this business in Canada? And absolutely, you can do this business in Canada. Ryan is an author, and through his own physical challenges, he has been able to use Dr. Wallach's protocols to help himself. And now, in a very great way, reaches out and helps others as well through different forms of media, including his books. So, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I had the honor of physically meeting Ryan, it seems like a few weeks ago, but I think it was a couple months ago, where he came to San Diego and checked out the area. Next, let's bring on Breck Rubin. Now, Breck Rubin is, of course, a father, a son, a pastor, an entrepreneur, and he is also a certified holistic health coach through the Institute of Holistic Health. And he just always brings some inspiration to our community. So I'm so excited to be able to have Breck on and learn more about him as well. And last but not least, we have with us today Andy Anderson. Now, Andy Anderson has been with Longevity for a very long time. He and his beautiful wife, Phyllis, are very dear friends of mine and also mentors. They have been entrepreneurs for a very long time. And through that entrepreneurship, he found that he has the gift of gab and was invited to have his own radio program that then led into him being very instrumental in getting the original Dead Doctors Don't Lie program with our leader, Dr. Joel Wallach, out across the airwaves. So, Andy, thank you so much for being here with us and welcome.
Well, thank you very much. And this is a wonderful opportunity. It's been a while since I've had a chance to have such great company to share a little time with. We haven't had a big event with Longevity in some time, and we've missed them. So this is really quite nice to be around such fine people.
I agree. And I'm hoping that we can change that streak of just staying home and doing Zooms, because there's nothing beats a real physical hug and hello. So, and that energy of oneness. Well, gentlemen, I am going to be going around the room and asking some questions. And if you could just give us like a 1 or 2 minute response to the question as I call on you, that would be absolutely fabulous, because we've got a lot of questions to go through and we have a lot of people listening wanting to know, what is it about this company that people not only go to and start, but stick with? All right. So I'm going to go based on who's, kind of in my circle here. I'm in the middle today. So let's go ahead and start at the top left. And Paul, tell us in 1 minute who you are and what you did before finding Longevity.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm Paul Kroto, and I ran a health club for many years prior to getting involved in running my own.
Just a health club?
Just a health club.
Okay.
Graduated, and but since then I've also opened a chain of restaurants. I think that's maybe what you're getting at.
Yes. So you're an entrepreneur in many different industries or multiple industries, and you are here with us.
Yes. And these great gentlemen there with me today that I'm honored to be with. It's great to see people, that had jobs in the past have now figured out how awesome entrepreneurship is and entered that field. So once you make that cross, you just never want to go back.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. And next, since we're going to go clockwise, Raymond, tell us in a minute or so who you are and what you did before longevity.
Well, first of all, I'm Yolanda's husband that you mentioned, going on 40, almost 50 years. So anyway, somewhere in there. Don't you tell her I didn't give you the exact date. All right. So just a long time. My background is Wall Street. I worked for Dow Jones on Wall Street for about 8 years, and they laid me off. Sent me to Texas and laid me off, and then I started a company, a computer and office supply company, for about 20 something years. And then we found longevity. Um, so that's kind of basically our background.
All right. Thank you so much. So we've got health industry, we've got Wall Street, we've got computer technical stuff. Folks, there's no limit to who is able to succeed in this business. Andy, tell us a minute or two on who you are and how you found longevity.
Well, of course, as a former talk show host, it'll be very hard for me to do that in 1 minute.
I know. I said force.
Um, I'm of the principle that you either believe in free enterprise or you work for somebody else who does. And I've been self-employed like Phyllis most of my adult life. My prior business, which I sold, that allowed me the free time to get involved actually with longevity, was a truck parts business in the San Francisco Bay Area. I started on my own, built it, sold it. I did very, very well with it. And now, by contrast, without all the cost and overhead, where network marketing provides you a chance to engage in free enterprise with very little cost. And then if I can, and maybe we can add to this in a few moments, but the combination of having the talent and the intellect of Dr. Wally, putting together a product line that works. See, I never heard that nutrition could get rid of health issue disorders, and it does. We saw it, my wife and I saw it firsthand, and at some point, if you like, I can incorporate some of the radio stations I sent up. Originally, we had about 120 radio stations airing Dead Doctors Don't Lie show, which I set up over half of them. And it was just a marvelous business. And we were very, very grateful, and we're still enjoying the residual benefit of that opportunity. We're very, very grateful.
Yeah. So folks, residual income.
Yes.
Andy, what does residual income mean?
Well, when you have a customer base, and again, Doc is doing something, and I actually subscribe to the exact same thing. Of all the products that you can sell, ideally, sell a product that's consumable. Mm-hmm. And versus if you're a car salesman, that's fine, nice, but the odds of ever seeing that person that's bought the car from you again is pretty rare, because that car will last for a given period of time. But when you have products that are basically consumed in a month, and then you have a customer base of such a scale where you have loyalty because of the products that Doc put together, there's a lot of competing products. But we know from having been around for quite a while, we started in July of 1997. And we actually traveled with Doc all over the United States, I set up radio stations, then would bring Doc in. But one of the things Doc additionally did is that his standard for the products that he's going to have his name on it has to be the best. He was with a prior company that began to substitute the wrong minerals, not plant derived. They were metallic minerals, which are not effective, or not as effective as plant derived. And Doc insists on those standards, which makes it, and I think this is still true today. All the liquid products are sent to a third-party lab for analysis to ensure.
Yes.
If Doc makes a comment about how many minerals are in this product or that, they're there. And the result of that, people get better. Just high standards.
High standards, and they keep coming back.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. And Breck. So Breck is an entrepreneur, father, husband, pastor, and a certified holistic health coach. So Breck, welcome to Daily with Doc. First time for you here with us. share with us a little more about yourself.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank you for having me on, especially with all these amazing men. I've had some time with Raymond, who's invested in my life, and Paul invested in my life, and I'm really grateful for the things that they shared over the years and played a part in me getting to where I am here. And then also having an amazing mentor who's mentored me since I found longevity, George Maitland, who has just been incredibly influentive and impactful in my life. And so before longevity, I was actually in healthcare sales. I always tell people God has a sense of humor. He was going to show me the kind of the contrast of things before I found longevity. And so I was meeting with doctors and nurses on a regular basis. And I was in the atmosphere in the industry of the contradictory side of what we're all actually up against, or helping people get out of slavery. Slavery is what I tell people. And it was really because I had my own extremely bad health challenge. And so it was darkness before light, I call it. The healthcare industry is as everybody knows, it's a system management system, and the system is broken. And so one of the amazing things about longevity, as we are all aware, is that it is a system of truth and change, but it's a system of multiplication. And it's a system of freedom. And one of the things I can tell you, especially as a pastor, that people are starving for, people are thirsty for truth, and they're thirsty to break out of enslavement because people are enslaved and they're limited. And this is a company that breaks limits. It helps people with the way of freedom and liberty and empowers them to multiply and live an abundant life. So I just want to encourage everybody out there that this is longevity what we have here is much bigger than the men that are here and everybody that has been drawn here today. It's about freedom, and it's about living an abundant, limitless life, because God blessed us and he said, go forth and multiply and increase. So you're blessed and you're actually empowered to go forth and multiply, to have an abundant life. So I want to encourage you in that you're not here by accident. You're here by divine appointment. There's some amazing things that are going on in longevity, amazing leaders here. You're here because you have a big purpose. So that's what I want to encourage everybody with today. You're here because you have a big purpose. The leaders that have been called, that have been here, Paul and everybody else, and Raymond and so forth, is that they have huge purposes of impact and influence on people, to see people break free from slavery, to see people live an abundant, limitless life. And you're here as well because the opportunity and your purpose calls you to be here.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank you. Absolutely,
Amen.
folks. You are empowered. You are not here by chance or accident. You are hearing today's program for a purpose, and that purpose may include sharing it with others that you know. So please feel free to do so. And last but absolutely not least, Ryan Aleckszander. Tell us so Ryan is, I already said it. He's an author. He's had a great journey using Dr. Wallach's. He's a Wallach warrior. Ryan, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
1 minute. All right. So I was born with health problems. That's what got me in here. I was born with my hips dislocated, all tangled around me, emergency C-section out of my mom. But I grew up with musculoskeletal problems because of that same deficiency thing that caused it. So all kinds of, I'd turn my head too quickly, pull a muscle out, have to wear a neck cast to school. Basically, I'm a little kid doing this, couldn't play sports or wrestle with the boys or anything like that, not without getting injured very easily. Constant pain and cramps and twitches. They would call it Tourette syndrome, childhood arthritis. I would call it stiff man syndrome now. It's basically just learn to be completely stiff, because if I move too quickly or whatever, I could pull a muscle and be out of commission for 2 weeks or more. And that was my childhood, and all the way up until my 26th birthday, when I happened to find OsteoFX. My friends had been taking Tangy Tangerine for a while. We all loved it, made us feel good. But when I added the OsteoFX, all of that was gone in less than a week. So my lifelong pains, and sometimes it was called full-blown diseases. It just disappeared. Insomnia too, all that stuff, stomach pains, headaches, all the things that come along with standard American diet and severe mineral deficiency. So I'm at 1 minute, 12 seconds. Whoops. I was fixed very quickly, and I got pulled into the business just automatically. We were selling Tangy Tangerine to our friends just without profit, just picking more up when we bought it off the guy that we knew that had Tangy Tangerine. This is before I even got my result, but when I did, really just jumped in. I know I'm at 1 minute 30 here, but the girlfriend that I was with at the time had post-concussion syndrome. She got an amazing result very quickly, got her life back very, very quickly. So that's actually what really, really pulled us fully into the business of helping others, because that was the first full major turnaround, life-changing thing. And then mine afterwards, and I didn't really have a choice. I was basically a hobo before that. Honestly, I was doing tattoos, traveling around all over the world and living in all types of different places, but I didn't have a career or a plan really. So I was a blank slate. Took over my life. We do this every day full time now, make content. Thousands of millions of people see it out there, and then we spend the rest of the time talking to the people who actually want to do better.
That's it.
Mm.
So yeah, Ryan is a powerhouse when it comes to digital media and getting a message out there. And I'm just honored, Ryan, that you agreed to come on with us today. So thank you so much. He has such an amazing story, folks. And there's a lot of people that were just like him waiting to hear it as well. Next question. Paul,
Yes.
how did Longevity find you? So
Well,
how did you find Longevity, or how did they find you?
Well, back in I think it was 1993, I randomly got this audio cassette mailed to me in the mail called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. And a guy took a marker and wrote his name and phone number on there. So I listened to the audio cassette. And at the time, I was just finishing up my master's degree in nutrition. And everything on that recording hit home. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my whole life. So I called the phone number, found out about it, ordered some of these amazing minerals, and started taking them, and felt unbelievable. I was just I knew that between this message and these minerals, what I would do the rest of my life. So very fortunate to become great friends with that gentleman that sent me that audio cassette. And as they say, the rest is history. So I was working at that health club back then, and I started distributing these tapes, audio tapes, out in massive action way, because I was already part of the Tony Robbins crew, and I know that massive action equals massive results. So I took massive action, and I was making per month what I was making per year in my personal business within 5 months. So I had a huge monthly income, and I was making a huge impact in people's lives and doing what I was built to do, which is spread the word of nutrition to people and understand that you have to have the foundational nutrients in your body in order for it to function correctly. It's as simple as that. It's not a matter of when you'll get sick. It's just a matter, just a matter of when, not if. So these nutrients are critical for every man, woman, and child alive, plant alive, any living thing alive. They have to have them. So I've been spreading this message of Dr. Wallach since then. And it's been an unbelievable journey with him. I got to travel with him and learn so much from him since listening to that audio cassette. And I know you have too. So it's just been an unbelievable ride. And anybody out there thinking about being an entrepreneur, do it. Just go out and do it. I remember walking in to work at 9 a.m. and just telling them I quit. It's burning the bridges. And I left that day making no money now. And when you burn the bridge, you tend to take some massive action. So that's what I did. And that worked really, really well for me. And I haven't worked a day in my life since 1993.
So folks, you can go into business by yourself, but unless you take massive action, you're not going to get the massive income that you're looking for. That's plain and simple. It doesn't just happen, right?
Yeah.
You had to work for it, right, Paul?
Absolutely. It was, They say that entrepreneurs are the only people in the world that work 80 hours a week, so they don't have to work 40 hours a week. But so yeah, we put in the work and the hours, but it's not really work. I just love helping people, and I do it all day. I get up at 5 a.m. every single day, and I start helping people. And last night I was up till 11 or 12 at night, so it was there's some long days, but the freedom is in there the whole time, though. There's no one to report to. You get to be your own boss and make up your own. Like now I'm going to take 3 weeks off and do nothing. So it's great. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want to. And it's the success is wonderful, but it's the fulfillment. That's the big part. I think a lot of people are missing that in their lives. They're not contributing. They don't feel like they're contributing. They don't feel like they're being fulfilled because they're not making a significant impact in people's lives. Where,
Absolutely.
especially in this business, that's what happens is people come back to me every single day and say, Paul, if it wasn't for you, I may be dead right now, or, I wouldn't be in this kind of health that I have now. So it makes me feel unbelievable.
I agree 100%. And because of some of the things that you've done since, well, just in the last, 5 years that I've met you, you've created the Institute of Health, which I am honored and proud to be the Director of Student Services, as we're creating an environment that people can learn, collaborate, and then build and have that support. So thank you for taking that part, that little piece of massive action that's impacted my life.
Well, I knew we needed to create an army of people. Like Dr. Wallach says, I want to create an army of people. And I told Doc I would help him do that. So we've done that. We've created thousands and thousands of Dr. Wallachs now. And they're all out there spreading his message. And it feels great because if they don't hear it from us, they're not going to hear this message. So it's super, super important to understand all of Dr. Wallach's teachings and be able to properly help other people with that message.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. Now, Raymond, how did you find longevity, or how did longevity find you, in your own words?
Well, we kind of came through the back door, the side door, whatever you would call it. We were involved with another company, and it was called Escape. And so we had brought, my wife and I and a couple of other entrepreneurs had brought a product called Z Radical to Escape. And so when Longevity bought or whatever, adopted Escape, that's how we got it. And that was in like 2009 or something like that. And what I liked about the company most of all was the stability, because we hear about, all these companies talking about they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, this, that, and the other. But it was the stability that got my wife and I. This story, Paul, I'll tell you real quick. Hopefully I can tell it real quick. I've always been interested in self-development, self-growth. I think the only reason why souls are put here is for us to evolve, right? So when I saw this industry, the way it happened, this guy called my wife and I, and he had found out we owned a company. My company was selected as one of the top 100 companies here in Houston, small companies. And he called me and he said, Mr. Brown, you don't know me, but we found something that's going to change mankind as you know it. And I said, yeah, right. I've heard these things before, right? And so anyway, he said, but come down, we're going to fly you down, put you up first class. And that was supposed to be the next Friday. So Yolanda and I got on the plane. I said, he flying us down here first class. I said, hey. And when we got on the plane, here's what I said, Becca. I said, Yolanda, we ain't buying nothing. We ain't getting into nothing. We ain't signing nothing. And I said, when we get down there, don't give me that look. Ladies, y'all know the look y'all give us, right? All the guys that's married know that look. And so they had invited like maybe 12, 14 other business people from around the country. And I kicked Yolanda under the, in walked these guys with these white coats, right? And they were retired scientists or medical doctors. And they opened up this book, Becca, and they said, well, here's the research. And the research at the time, they had 300 studies on pubmed.gov. And the studies were from Russia, Canada, Europe, Asia. And when they got to Harvard, Duke, Baylor, and Johns Hopkins, which is the world's foremost research center, I kicked my wife under the table. And the research had started in 1970. I kicked her under the table. I said, honey, I don't think Harvard and Duke, this is in 2000, right? And Johns Hopkins put this stuff on the government website just to trick me 30 years later. We ended up buying 10 cases and we brought them back to Houston and we had a meeting at the house. And the first person that bought a case was a neighbor of ours. She bought a case, and that was on a Thursday night. She called us on a Monday, and she said that her blood pressure dropped 30 points in 3 days. So I'm saying, yeah. So I'm still doubting, right? Nothing works that fast, right? Y'all know I'm from the hood, so I doubt all the time. So the second person that called was a nurse who had been on Prozac for about 8-10 years. And she called us back and said her psychiatrist had took her off her Prozac. So I'm saying this stuff, it affects your mind too, your mental capacity. But the thing that really took us over into the land of commitment, Becca, was this. My sister over in North Carolina had had been diagnosed with 4th stage breast cancer. And they had sent her home to die with hospice. They'd given her a couple of months at most. You know, give her anything she wants, make her comfortable. We got aggressive with the Z radical and with the Facordin, and we sent hospice home in about 4 or 5 weeks. When that happened, there was no turning back, because I knew with the research from Harvard and Duke, what else was there to prove? So we just, and here's the entrepreneur part. I only wanted to make, I said, probably $2,500, $3,000 a month back then. I said, because we have a lot of hurricanes here in Houston, and if anything ever happened, it blew my house away, I could get a small apartment for the family, maybe put some food on the table, and buy me a little car. And that's all I wanted, right? And that's what began to happen. We had the product, and that's how it took off. But the most important thing was the self-development for me. That in order for you to really succeed at this, I mean, there are a lot of people, there are people that make money in this industry, but to be successful, that you had to grow. That is one of the acquirements or inquirement, what's the word I'm trying to say? That's required in this business, is that you grow. And I always tell people, because we run across people like in my, arena, they're successful and whatnot, but what they don't understand is this. When you're building an organization like this, all kinds of people are coming into your organization. They may not have the self-esteem or the entrepreneur spirit that you've had, experience you've had, right? So you've got to have something that can get them involved to help them to grow. Because remember, you get paid from what they do, not necessarily from what you accomplish alone, right? So this just made common sense to me, that this industry, in order for you, like the Bible says, You have to become your brother's keeper. And I've never seen that in any other industry where, it's all about me. I get my part, my piece of the pie, and hopefully you get yours. But I want mine first, right? And I want more of it than you. But this here, I just love it because it checks all the boxes. If you're a decent human being, if you have integrity, it checks all of the boxes.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Raymond, for sharing that. And I am in total agreement that if you've got integrity and you're looking for something that you can do that has purpose and helping others, there's nothing better than helping others succeed and having the gratification from that. I think it's a blessing that we're able to do for others that then has a return for us as well with the right heart. Andy,
Well,
how did you find longevity, or
yeah,
did
I'm
you
already starting. Yeah.
you started?
Well, a quick history is how this came, and my answer is how this all came about. Phyllis had a graphic arts and typesetting business in Santa Cruz for 20 plus years. And I happened to be there one day, and a fellow by the name of Michael Zwirling came in to sell her some radio advertising. He is the owner of KSCO Radio, which stands for Santa Cruz County. And we got to talking, and he said, "Boy, I got to put you on the radio." And I won't explain exactly why, but it has to do with politics. And because anyway, so I was on the radio for quite some time, but Doc Wallach was buying time on KSCO, and this is the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio show in particular, because Doc actually was doing two shows, Let's Play Doctor and Dead Doctors Don't Lie, which again, we had a 26-year run until it ended the 1st of January of this year. Anyhow, but in the meantime, Phyllis and I got to know Michael well. And Doc was really doing well in Santa Cruz. Monterey Bay is a mecca for alternative health. There's an acupuncturist on every corner. I mean, it's kind of a marvelous little town. And so alternative medicine is just really big. And Doc was doing very, very well. Now, at that time, in radio, for talk show hosts are involved one of two ways. Either if you buy the time, it's called brokered time. In other words, you pay the owner of the station for an hour of radio or whatever, could be television, doesn't matter. And then there's barter, where you have the microphone, but it doesn't cost you anything. When I was doing radio, it was on barter, fortunately. And the thing of it is, if your hosts are interested and talented and all that kind of thing, you attract an audience, and consequently, you can sell advertising to the community. So Doc and Michael got together and thought, what would happen if we sold your radio show to other radio stations? Because this had never been done before. We revolutionized network marketing. So with all the success that he was having in Santa Cruz, so Michael asked me one day, he said, I knew about Doc, I hadn't met him or anything, and asked me if I'd be interested in selling the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio show. It was called Clearing Stations. I didn't even know what it was. And I had time because I'd sold a business. I had a lot of free time and was comfortable. And I thought, well, sure, why not? But and he called it syndicating. I didn't even know what that meant. So anyhow, the whole idea was to take Doc's radio show, and I was to call radio stations and pitch them on taking the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio show. And it's kind of hard because there was no other station that was airing Doc except KSCO. So in other words, when stations would ask me, well, tell me about your success. So tell me about other stations. How are they doing? That's a tough spot to be in. Anyhow, I managed to say whatever I needed to say. And it took me from July until I think it was November, December of 92 to get my first station. And but with just better answer your question, I didn't know anything about longevity, quite frankly, until I got involved in selling Doc's radio show. And obviously the proximity of the products with regards to Michael, not Michael, but Doc, it was right there. So we started to, because I've never had a health problem. I'm 79. And so how many years ago? 30 years ago. And so the whole issue of health and alternative health was new to me. I've almost never been to a doctor. I was in the hospital to get born and maybe tonsils, but outside of that, I've never been in a hospital. Visit friends, but that was it. So I knew little about it, but I managed to set up what was it, KVV in Grand Junction, Colorado. And I think it was November, December was the first station I got. It took that long to get one station. And that's what it takes in sales. It takes a lot of time and effort, and you have to keep your attitude up. You get discouraged, but you can't let that stop you, because the old expression, tomorrow's another day. But with that in mind, then that grew and grew and grew and grew. And of course, we were taking products we had to qualify, and all that went with it. So I'm very grateful. But I was introduced, to answer your question, by Michael Swerling, quite frankly, and Doc Wallach.
Yeah, the two of them have been a powerhouse when it comes to putting Doc on the radio, and you were a great part of that. And Michael was part of me getting on the radio too, and getting me on this program, or encouraging me to create this program, better said. So thank you so much, Andy, for all that you have done also in getting Dr. Wallach's message out. And Breck, tell us a little bit about how you found Youngevity, or how Youngevity found you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rebecca, in my case, I was really, really sick, and this was back about 10 years ago. And just to give you a little bit of a story about that, is I went to school actually to help people become healthy. So my degree is actually in exercise science and community health. Went through some, what I thought was really good training. And what I found out was I got really, really sick following the so-called experts' advice. And so about 10 years ago, I had a really, really destructive digestive disorder, something similar to Crohn's disease, with bleeding and all kinds of things. I mean, I was suffering terribly, went to the doctors, colonoscopy. Basically, the only thing that they said we can do is manage it, of course, with medication. I was in awful shape. My wife was really worried about me, thought I had rectal cancer, I was going to die, and all these things. And then, thank God, like I said, my mentor, George Maitland, he gave me a Dead Doctors Don't Lie CD and said, I think it'd be great if you listen to this. And, when you listen to it, I believe it's an anointed audio, that you'll hear the truth in it, and the truth in that audio, it did something inside of me, and something clicked. And I said, that's it. I've got nothing to lose. And so 3 months later, I was resolved. Everything was resolved. And so grateful about that. And there was two issues on how I found Youngevity. The other one was really my own slavery, Rebecca, to be honest with you. One of the things you hear people talk about all the time is they hate Mondays and they live for Fridays. And you hear that all the time, and they get it. If you really stop and think about it, the system that we're ingrained into from being little children is a system of enslavement. It's a slavery system, because think about it. People are not happy working for somebody else because they're not in their purpose, and they live for the weekends. It's like being in prison. You get a 2-day pass, and then you got to do it all over again. And some people, that's their whole life. And so what I realized, that this was a huge opportunity to go back to, it goes back to freedom, to be set free from that enslavement, so that somebody else doesn't have to manage your time, manage your money, and manage your health, because I was suffering in all those areas like most people are. And so this has been just a huge blessing for me, my family, and the people that I get to work with and coach and those type of things. And people, like I said, they are thirsty and looking for a way out of prison, so to speak, not only on the health side, because people are suffering needlessly, but also on the financial side and just the quality of life side, to be able to live an abundant life. And so it's dramatically changed my life. But yes, the way that I found it was somebody, George Maitland, thankfully reached out to me with a Dead Doctors Don't Lie CD. I call it a seed. And that seed was planted, and the rest is history. So I'm super thankful for that.
Excellent. I understand being really sick and worried and being failed by a system that was of experts that was supposed to be helping you. So I right there with you. Thank you so much, Breck. Now, Ryan, you did share already a little bit about, how you were, or how you found longevity, or how longevity found you. So let's just go right into the next question. And what has kept you with longevity?
Unmute myself. Yeah, so I mentioned I was just kind of wandering around, and when I came back to Canada, literally my buddy, my good friend Chef Norman, he picked me up from the airport, gave me some tangy tangerine, but he didn't even say anything about it. Like, he knew I had health problems, or he didn't bother pitching me on, just have some of this. So my buddies were hooked on the Tang, and started taking it. Like I said, started selling it even to some of our friends, not with any health pitch involved. We knew nothing about health. My friends are not health conscious people at all. We just loved the Tang, and we sold it based on that. Told you about the girlfriend, she got her results, and this is just so dramatic. She at the time could barely stay awake for 4 hours. She'd have to go back to sleep post-concussion syndrome, right? One eye pupil is way bigger than the other. She's got to wear sunglasses all the time. Like, it's a severe injury, and it was so quickly reversed. It was so amazing. Then, of course, my own one, where I could move my neck around for the first time in my life in less than a week and sleep perfectly, and just all these lifelong plagues had vanished me immediately. I felt immediately that I was going to have no choice. Paul said, about making the army. Dr. Wallach said he was creating an army. Exactly. I signed right up for it. Didn't really know the full scope of what it was going to be, but I tried the hand-to-hand sales for a while. My friends and family, signed up as many as I could. But your question, what kept me? It's the people that did get fixed, and some of them are so dramatic. We've seen amazing things in this business with all kinds of diseases, you name it. And so I don't know how I could leave, because there are so many people who need it. And especially now, after the pandemic, we've had so many new people coming to us and telling us this is their first time here in the alternative health world. They're not a health nerd, and many of them don't even have diseases. They just got woken up to this after the pandemic. So how could we walk away? It's our responsibility. I feel an absolute responsibility to continue doing this. There's people who want our help constantly. Right now, I got the timer in front of me, but I see emails coming in as we're talking. The whole world needs to hear this. Many millions of people have heard it. Many of us are doing this, but there's so many more. We haven't even scratched the surface. And now we're at a time in the world where people really, really want this. They really, really want to take care of themselves. They really, really want to get away from the pharmaceutical industry and learn how to eat properly, and, not get all the diseases we expect to get old in this society. When we get old, we're expected to have our knees replaced and have Alzheimer's and all this stuff. And people genuinely don't want it. And we're the ones that are teaching them how to turn things around. So that's what's kept me in it. It's such an important position. I'm a college dropout, but people treat me like a doctor, with respect and appreciation. And it's very obvious that the work that we're all doing makes a massive, massive difference, that even when it does get difficult, I get tired of answering emails and doing phone calls, and the never-ending aspect of it burns me out. But even when I'm not feeling the greatest about it, I know we could never walk away from this. This is not just a business. It's not just a family here, a community. This is a movement. It is an army, and we do have to continue. To me, it's not a choice.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. And yeah, when you get the results, when you have people that are surrounding you with results, how can you do something else?
Nothing could be as important, really. Whatever else I was planning to do in life, it's nothing compared to this. I like doing tattoos, I guess. You can make a good living doing it. It's just, there's no way I could justify doing anything other than this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan, for sharing that. People, I don't know about you, but there's been a lot of information here that's being shared that is inspirational, motivational, and gives that message of hope. Now, the FDA does require us to let you know that our program is meant for educational purposes only. It is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician, nor are the products meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any diseases. But folks, the ingredients in these products, when you give the body what it needs, the body itself can thrive. And that is what we offer to you today. So get back with the person that shared this program with you and thank them. Let them know what you liked best about the program and how you want to get involved. Now, Paul, what keeps you in longevity?
Well, Becca, it's simple. It's, for my college degree, first day one of college, getting my master's degree in nutrition, it listed that there's 90 things the human body must have every single day. What I mean by that is your body cannot make these 90 essential nutrients. Right. And I am shocked because I keep my finger on the pulse of the entire nutrition industry. And I watch other companies, and other companies come out with new products all the time. And I'm sure they're great products, but nobody has the 90 essential nutrients in one place. I've seen products out there that say, oh, we have 100 different nutrients in there in our product, but like 6 of them are essentials. The rest of them are things that our bodies could make on our own if we had the 90 essentials. So this is the only company, to my knowledge, and I am well versed in the entire health and wellness industry. It's the only company in the world that has all 90 essential nutrients in one convenient pack that's easy to take. I can take my 90 essential nutrients within 45 seconds in the morning. Got a couple, drinks I have and some EFAs that I take, and I'm done. It's super simple to do. And it is the foundation to everything. People call me all the time. What about this product, Paul? What about this product? Well, you take it to 90 first, because if you don't have that foundation to your house there, nothing else will matter. You could take whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Won't help you because you don't have a foundation to your house. You have to have the foundation there first. And so I'll never leave longevity unless somehow the human body changes. If God somehow makes it and the human body completely changes somehow, I will find another company. But until that happens, the human body keeps working the way it works right now. Every man, woman, and child, as I mentioned before, every single living thing out there needs the 90 essential nutrients. So I love this company. It's, I think Raymond mentioned the stability. I'm best friends with the owners. They have the most integrity of anybody I've ever met. And this is an industry where sometimes integrity comes into question. I guess all industries have that happen to them, but I can tell you firsthand from knowing Steve and Michelle for over 30 years, they don't just cross T's and dot I's. I mean, they go way out of the way to do that, and triple check things and make sure that that's not what, it's not about what's on the label is actually in the product. They make sure that the label is undercutting what's in the bottle. There's actually more in there, but they won't ever report that. Now, other companies, and actually the rules out there state that you only have to have 80% of what the label says in the product to get past inspection. But I can tell you, we don't have 80%. We have 110% of everything we say that's in these products. And, integrity is everything to me. So I'll never leave.
I don't see our bodies changing. So,
yeah,
except for the good, but they're still going to require the same foundation, folks.
Yeah.
So changing away from that, I don't get it. I don't see it.
Not going to happen.
No. Raymond, what has kept you in longevity?
Stability, the stability of the company, period. When we first started and we met Doc, and I heard this about coming to your town and come to do a meeting, right? And he didn't charge you anything. I'm saying, what is this? I've never been involved in anything where they didn't charge you something other than his hotel fare and his food, which was minute. A man like this of his stature, which could probably be laid back on an island somewhere, maybe with servants, but he chose to come to Sugar Land, Texas, or wherever, Salisbury, North Carolina, or wherever, and didn't charge me a penny. Now, that's integrity to me. He didn't have to do that at all. That says a lot about this company and that man. He just wants to help people, and that you can't buy that. So I mean, I'm just excited about. Somebody asked me. I guess what was the question they asked me, Paul? They asked me, what was the question? The question was, um, uh, what did they ask us? They ask us, what did they ask us, Yolanda? She called me, but she said something to me. That's what happened. But anyway, the reason what keeps me here is, of course, the stability and the story I just told you about Doc Waller. It doesn't get any better than that. Um, oh, this guy asked me. He said, "What do you think 20 years from now will be the product of the future? What will be the hot item 20 years from now?" At my age, I told him I may or may not be here 20 years from now. But I said, as Paul said, unless our health, it relates back to our body, our health. If you have a body, health will be involved, period. That's why I am so excited to do what we do, because it doesn't matter what comes down the pipe. This, that, the other, your health, you can't get away from it. I always ask people, I believe in common sense, Becca. There are many things that we can do without in life. We can do without a house if we had to, pitch a tent, right? Catch a rabbit if we had to, right? Burn some candles if we had to. But you can't do a thing without your health.
That's right.
Period. So we work at the very essence, the foundation, as Andy said, the foundation, the very essence of our existence is life, is health. So that's why I stay.
Right. Andy, what is your quick answer to what keeps you in longevity? Because I have another really important question I want to get to before we close out today.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Paul said it perfectly. If you don't have health, you have nothing. Doesn't matter how rich you are. If you don't have health, you've got nothing. So to be in an industry that is so essential and to be associated with, we're in our 27th year and looking forward to another 20, frankly. And the other side of that is the beauty of the business, the simplicity of it. We've owned sticks and bricks businesses. We have to either rent a warehouse or an office, and you have to have, in our case, employees, and you've got insurance and promotion, everything, all the costs that are associated with it. And longevity replaces all that. And we can pretty clear we're in the kitchen, and that's our cost is our home, which we're going to pay for that anyway. And, and with look at technology, and if I could do a little promo for Rebecca, everyone. A few weeks back, Doc and Rebecca were here in Las Vegas, and we had a lovely dinner. And I had a chance to thank her and Jonty and Doc because of the transition from the radio show Dead Doctors Don't Lie into Daily with Doc and Rebecca. What a nice job you've done. I told you that at dinner. But and the tech, so you brought the current technology to us. You're so far ahead. I'm a way behind in technology. My wife is brilliant with it, thank God. But that transition was just marvelous, and the help you had, the people behind the scenes, as well as you, Jonty, and like I said, and with Doc, of course, and others. I just may not know them personally, but the principle of Dead Doctors Don't Lie is still alive, and what Doc put together, the quality of the product line, and it's It's the part of it is the simplicity of the business. We don't have that overhead. We don't have to rent an office. We don't. I mean, I've had up to 24 employees at one time. I used to own a precision sheet metal house in Santa Cruz, and all that overhead, and everything that goes with it, that's gone. It's gone. Look, right now, you're advertising longevity with this Zoom, which we're all the benefactors of that. It's just absolutely marvelous. So thank you again.
Well, thank you, Andy. And no, that is not paid advertising. Nor was it solicited. Thank you so much, Andy. You know, it's an honor to be able to do this and be part of a community that I feel so strongly about supporting and making a resource for. So thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Breck, real quick.
Yes.
We already know you've had some amazing health recovery, which that in itself would be enough to keep you in longevity. Is there anything else?
Yeah, actually what keeps me, Becca, is purpose. So Paul talked about fulfillment, and we can't run from our purpose. It's purpose. I'm purpose to be here. We're purpose to be here. This is to be 100% honest, this is a divine blueprint. If you heard Paul talk, he talked about the word essential. It's essential. It's essential for the body. So that means it's a divine blueprint that Dr. Walt's been given according to our creator. If we stop and just think of that, that is beyond, that's why it's beyond us. And so think about this. What if you could bless all the families of the earth? You can with this, with what we have here. And that's what we're doing. And so it is an amazing opportunity, and it's a gift.
Amen. Thank you, Breck. Ryan, last question. This was not in the list, okay? So what are the 2 top strategies that you would suggest for a man or women, because the girls are listening too, looking to grow their longevity business?
Well,
and any particular products?
I'm probably an outlier here because we do it pretty differently. We make content and put it mostly on Instagram. Instagram's always been best to us. And I was brought in by elderly people who have been doing this a long time, been in the business a long time, and they're much older. We did it old school. We did farmers markets and church meetings. And of course, Doc coming to town, Ben Fuchs coming to town, doing the big health expos, person to person, coffee shops, phone calls. And it was quite a lot of work, but I was trained in the traditional network marketing. But when I just started taking lectures, cutting them and editing them into 1-minute clips and posting them on Instagram consistently, it changed everything. And now I have a hard time justifying effort in real life stuff. I know real life events are very, very powerful. As you said at the very beginning of this Zoom here, there's nothing beats it. It doesn't. But when I can spend 20 minutes or 40 minutes making one post and 200,000 people see it, or it posts 3 years once every year, 1 million people see it over those 3 years, nothing has beaten the input to output ratio here. We get so many people coming to us that we don't have to do any prospecting, we don't have to do any introducing, because the content introduces them. Then they come to us with genuine questions. Hey, what did you mean? What was the nutrient he was talking about? Do you think this would help me with my high blood pressure? This is constant. This is all we do, is respond to people who already want our help just because we put the content out there. So I know a lot of people have barriers to making content, but it's worth learning. I started the Dr. Wallach account on Instagram with a crummy laptop that could barely run. It almost burned out making some simple Instagram posts, but it was enough. You don't need amazing computers or anything to get started. I'm just saying, as a possibility out there, to me, there is no way to reach that many people that efficiently with an hour or less of work to reach thousands upon thousands of people. Maybe it's their first exposure, maybe it's their 5th exposure, and they're finally ready to make a decision, take action, come to you. Hey, what did that mean? How can I do this?
Absolutely. The glory of attraction marketing, folks. So
it works almost
Ryan,
too well.
sharing.
It works so well that our main problem is trying to figure out how to actually respond to all these people. It's literally, a multi-person full-time job just to respond to the people. And I remember how hard it was to, meet someone in the grocery store or at a barbecue and try and say that I might have something that could help them with their health. It was just way more time efficient to do this Instagram thing. It doesn't have to be Instagram. There's many platforms, but it has been worth it for me. It's been worth it for others, I know, with Wallach on YouTube.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan. And Paul, what are 2 top strategies that you suggest for a man or woman looking to grow his or her longevity business?
Well, I'm just going to give you one, because that's all you need. So as you know, I've had the privilege to spend a lot of time with Dr. Wallach, along with my business partner, Cheryl Morley, and yourself have been blessed to spend a lot of time with Doc. But unfortunately, most people don't get to spend much time at all with Doc at all. So we created, as you mentioned, the Institute of Holistic Health. And one of the things that we watched here at Longevity, and I'm sure there's people watching this right now being like, well, that's great for all those people, but I don't know any of the stuff that they're talking about. I don't know how to help someone get healthy. So we actually became an institute and built this Institute of Holistic Health based on Dr. Wallach's teachings. So it's not a rule yet. It will be soon that every single person coming into longevity will be required to take this course, because you have to know how to help people first. If you don't know the basic information, and not just know it, but be certified. There's a knock on this industry of people being unprofessional. You got Joe, who doesn't know anything about anything, making recommendations about health. It's absolutely ridiculous. So you need to get information from someone who's certified, who knows what they're talking about, has taken the courses, who understands the information and is trained properly how to help another human being. So always, before you ask any kind of nutritional advice, ask, are you certified? Do you know what you're talking about? Now, I don't mean ask them if they're a doctor, because that's what we're trying to stay away from. As a matter of fact, there's 2 things in life, and it's which boggles my mind how everybody out there, listen to the media and they're like, oh, jobs, we need more jobs. Or we need healthcare. Healthcare has got to be reformed. The 2 things in life that I avoid the most is having a job and having a healthcare. Those 2 things are the worst 2 things you could possibly do in life. So we train people properly on how to be certified and know what Dr. Wallach teaches, and actually, come in contact, how to meet other people, how to do social media, like Ryan mentioned. As a matter of fact, we're teaching an AI class in 2 hours on how to use AI to build your entire longevity business, which is cutting edge. I mean, people will be building multi-million-dollar businesses now faster than ever because of the technology out there now that is just absolutely amazing. So the how's easy, but you have to know the proper information to share with people. And the only way you can get that is through this institute.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul. And yeah, there's a lot of things that happen when you're working in network marketing, and people that you've got just order takers, or you've got people that actually have a heart to help others. And what you see on the screen with me today are those people who have a heart to help others. Raymond, what are 2 top strategies that you suggest for a man or woman looking to grow his or her business, longevity business?
Well, my first strategy is learning the right approach. You need people skills, right? The products are the products. And one of the things that we learned is that from what we understand, I think the first network marketing company started in 1938 or 48 out of California, right? And the dropout ratio then from 38 to 39 was 85% when people started. So, and the last survey was done like in 2015. And from 1938 to 2015, the ratio rate of dropping out was still 85%. With all the technology, all the books that have been written on network marketing, was still 85%. So we go back to residual income. How can you have a steady residual income if 85% of the people that you bring in within a year or less is dropping off? So we found a way where we have an approach where we talk with people and let it be their decision, not ours. We don't use any manipulation. We don't use talking people into it or convincing them or none of those things, because when you do, they may get in, but they eventually quit because they got in for your reasons and not ours, right? So that was the first thing, is learning the right approach where you don't get any rejection, you won't get any return. I mean, you can tell people all you want to. Well, you got to have strong, you got to be strong. You throw enough mud up against the wall. It's a numbers game. You know, all that stuff sounds good, but it doesn't work. And we know it, but we don't have any other way. So we found a way. So the approach and people skills. And then the next thing, of course, the products speak for themselves. So we don't even have to discuss that, right? The next thing is a system. Having a system once a person comes in and tells you, Becca, I want to be a business builder, right? Okay, well, what do you tell them? Two things people want to know. First two things, what do I say and what do I do? So, and they say, okay, guys, I wanna start building a business. Tell me what's the first thing I do? What's the second thing I do? What's the third thing I do? See, because this is about having a system that anybody can do, whether it's grandma at 89 or a grandpa with a third grade education. So you got to have a system. See, products doesn't sell themselves, right? They don't. I don't care how good they are. It's people that sell products. And you've got to have the people skills in order to build a business. And if you want a large business so I'll give you a good example, auto ship. The way to determine whether or not people are gonna stay on auto ship is the approach. Everything in this business, if you're building a business, starts with the approach. We have people call us from other companies all the time for coaching and advice. And they say, well, I really started out real fast and it was going like gangbusters. And all of a sudden it stopped. What do you think happened? Guess what the answer was? The approach. It's always the approach, guys. If you learn to master the right approach where there's no fear, no anxiety, none of that stuff, then you got something, right? Where people can talk to people without being scared or being threatened, then you can build an organization. And especially if the auto ship depends on the approach, right? So you got to if you want a steady income, the approach must be first, right? So those are the two things. Well, it's kind of like three: people skills, the approach, and having a system.
All right. Thank you so much, Raymond, for that. That's awesome. And Andy, what are the two top strategies that you suggest for a man or woman looking to grow his or her longevity business?
Well, first off, you need to know the products. There are a lot of products in longevity. When we came on board, we had our line sheet. I think we had 8 or 10 products, the classic, and I think we had essential fatty acids. And I mean, literally, that's really the product line of American Longevity. It used to be called American Longevity. Now it's Longevity. You have to know your products, and you need to know what's in them. You need to know what the ingredients are. For example, I'm big on calcium. And I can't believe all the money people spend on calcium carbonate because the doctor said you need calcium. So they go to Costco or Walmart and buy 500 calcium tablets, which there's calcium carbonate, which if you took 1,000 milligrams of calcium carbonate, you'd be lucky to get 50 milligrams in your blood. It's a joke. It's just, and so you need to know, forgive me for laboring that a little bit, but you need to know your products by the ingredients. And I want to add what Paul and Cheryl have done with that marvelous certification program. That is, again, knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. That puts you in a position when you're talking to somebody else. I like what Ryan said earlier, that people respect him and refer to him as a doctor. It's because when he does respond, it's knowledgeable and pleasant because you're comfortable knowing your products. You don't have to look anything up because you already know it. The other thing I would probably suggest to is, and this is a fault that happens to everybody, especially when you have a product line that's as involved as ours is, people have a tendency to not listen. Their head is so full of what all their knowledge is that they just, somebody asks them a simple question, they want to talk for the next 50 minutes, and they don't hear what the person was asking to begin with. So it's a big thing to just listen. Just listen. Again, I think it was Ryan said earlier, you meet somebody in the supermarket and you can hear them complaining about their health. And you do something so simple to say, it turns out I work with a doctor that is a master or specializes in this, and that's it. Either they're going to say yes or no, but don't overwhelm with information, especially in the beginning. Let them talk to you. And again, with what Paul and Cheryl had put together, because Phyllis is certified, I'm not, but she went ahead early on and got the certification. I actually didn't know it was even going on. Why? I don't know. But what Paul has done is just, and Cheryl, absolutely brilliant, brilliant. It's hand in a glove, and for us to have that available, because it makes, like Ryan said, people think of you as a doctor because you're so comfortable with your products and how they are applied. And the other, I think, wonderful thing where it's still available, I should say, is that one of the things we learned very early on, if we're dealing with somebody with stage 4 cancer, for the most part, keep your mouth shut, because we are in no position to advise anybody on cancer. You need to talk to a doctor, and you need to talk to Dr. Wallach. And because we're not in the position to advise anybody regarding life and the death. That's not our role. We're not doctors. We have no business doing it. If we can refer something doc says out of a book or something that we can show, that's one thing. But whenever we get somebody, there's a lot of them with serious health issues, first words out of our mouth is, well, let's do this. Let's have you talk to Dr. Wallach. And then hopefully we can put them together here on the Zoom. And we understand that Doc is going back to doing Let's Play Doctor. I believe that's the case. I think hopefully it'll be 5 days a week. But nonetheless, we have Doc Wallach access. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost. I think it's just marvelous. I think it's just marvelous. So with that in mind.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you, Andy. And I love the fact that, you can go to any ingredient that we have within our products and go to pubmed.gov, look that up, and find there are thousands upon thousands of research done on the individual nutrients that support good health. It's not just us saying it.
Yeah.
So I agree. And then to have Dr. Wallach with his credibility is actually very fantastic. Breck, what are two top strategies that you would suggest for a man or woman looking to grow his or her longevity business?
Absolutely. It's already been discussed. That's the most important thing, is to keep it simple. The biggest struggle for people with this business is trying to do it themselves and do it their way. The two keys that I would share with people: number one, duplication, and that's what Paul's talking about. Number two, honor a system. That's what Raymond's talking about. Those are the keys. Is that it's already the way of success. Listen, success is not a secret, it's a system. Success is not a secret, it's a system. If you honor a system, the success is the exhaust or the result of it. And so the health coaching program is amazing, because what are we doing? We're duplicating Dr. Wallach, what he knows. Does it work? No question. So it's a duplication, it's a system. Raymond's talking about the skills that we need to actually interact with people and to do it the right way, connection, relationship. Just want to share two resources for you out there. How to Sell Network Marketing Without Fear, Anxiety, or Losing Your Friends by Michael Oliver. That is an excellent resource for you. The other one is, you probably heard of it, but it's an excellent for skills, is GoPro by Eric Worre. Those two books, fantastic, will help you grow as a person, which Paul and Raymond were talking about. That's extremely important. That, that's the thing about a job, is you can be a robot, you never grow. We don't grow in comfort, we grow in uncomfort, in being uncomfortable. And so that's really important. But just duplicate, honor a system, keep it simple.
I love that. And I know the first book that you mentioned is one of Raymond's favorites. And I saw that big smile that came across his face whenever you mentioned it. Well, gentlemen, we are way over time. We just want to give a shout out to our radio listening audience out there on KSCO, KOMY, and I've got to get a list of the others. Thank you for hanging out with us here on Daily with Doc, and also to all of you on the different platforms. Shoot us a little comment. Let us know that you're there, where you are at, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just want to do a huge shout out to my panel: Paul Kroto, Raymond Brown, Andy Anderson, Breck Rubin, and Ryan Aleckszander. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for spending time with us and just bringing to the screen on Daily with Doc and Becca what you are doing to make an impact in helping others. Well, folks, if I could just get my co-hosts on with me as well.
Let's wrap it up.
So one of you, if you could take
for a minute.
Sure.
things away, and then as bring others back, that would be absolutely fantastic, because I could not do this without my own team, where we have Sherry, who is learning how to do all of the getting things streamed and set up, and we have AJ, who is helping and teaching that as well, and keeping the platforms running and getting us even bigger, farther, faster. And we have Marilyn on with us today, who is one of the big reasons for coming and joining us live, folks, is the fact that you get to see in the chat, she is doing dictation of the key points and things to remember in each and every section of our programming. And we have, I'm still going to mention you, Phyllis. We have Phyllis Anderson, who is the wife of Andy Anderson, and I'm excited to have her with us on our team as well, as she brings a lot of knowledge, both with the company and also technology, to our team. And Ruth Ellen Sanchez taking some well-needed time off, as well as Albert way down in South Africa. Folks, my name is Becca Dukes. No matter where you are, if you are looking for something where you can have purpose and feel good about what you do and making an impact on those around you, please don't hesitate to reach out to the person that shared this program with you. If there is nobody to thank, then feel free to go to dailywithdoc.com. Use that contact option. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which is right there on the front page, easy to find. And if you have questions for Dr. Wallach, yes, Dr. Wallach is scheduled to be back with us at least 2 days a week, starting in the new year. And we will let you know when those days are, but we'll have other guests with us on the other days, so don't go away. My name is Becca Dukes. Thanks so much for joining us. And if you would like to talk with a certified holistic health coach and you have never spoken to anybody about longevity or the products or Dr. Wallach, feel free to give my call team a call at 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. Until next time. Oh, tomorrow, join us with Pharmacist Ben. Bye for now.
App out.